strength. So it's got a little bit of a kick to it.
And barrel strength and cask strength are the same thing?
Yes. Yes, but barrel proof is different than barrel strength.
Okay, see? And barrel proof means what?
Barrel proof means the barrel entry proof. So it's proof down to the exact same proof that it was when they put it in the barrel.
Interesting, man.
As opposed to it just being whatever it is at the time.
And what type of grain is used in here?
100% malted barley.
Also, guys, Mr. Whiskey back at the Art of Whiskey, and this is one of the artists that I've come in contact with over the past couple months. Realistically, I've seen you in and out of the blendery. You now work there, and look, we gonna get together and make more content. If you watched one of our last videos, we saw and learned a little bit about Kavalan, Taiwanese Scotch, basically, but it's not Scotch because it doesn't come from Scotland. I remember all the little things. It's finished in a cherry cask.
Oloroso sherry. Yep.
Okay, Oloroso sherry cask, which is why you get the red tint and the hues. Now he said this one's better than this one.
No. This one's better than this one, but this one's still very, very good. Yeah.
And this is pronounced Amrut.
Amrut. Yep.
Amrut. Okay. And it's an Indian single malt special limited. What part of India does this come from? Do you know?
I do not know where it comes from in India. I do know that they say that it is the jewel of India, but I'm not sure where they say.
Well, anywho, man, walk them through the specs and the information on this and how you got it, man.
Sure. So this one I actually did get from a specs, and this is a single barrel pick from a Sherry Bomb Whiskey Society. And the reason I brought it was because it's made exactly like this one's made, only it's just a different region. Obviously would have been a different sherry barrel, but the same kind of Oloroso sherry. And so if you're going to compare, 100% malted barley finished in Oloroso sherry, one from Taiwan and one from India, it's kind of cool to you can make it as apples to apples as you can, so you can compare the regions as much as possible.
Interesting, man. And who turned you on to this?
So
was this your curiosity?
I started with Scotch, and then I started branching out into all of the other regions that try to make Scotch, or that make something like Scotch, but they can't call it Scotch because it's not from Scotland. So Japanese stuff, Indian stuff, and Taiwanese stuff. Yeah. And this is very much like no Scotch drinker is going to be upset with this. India does a very, very good job.
And how old is this?
Let's say they tell you on this one. I think it's 6 or 7 years. Same thing, because it's so hot in India. So they filled it in July of 2014, and it was bottled in September of 2020.
Jesus Christ, man. We'll let you do the honors, man. Pour both of us a little swig of that.
And this is also barrel strength. So it's got a little bit of a kick to it.
And barrel strength and cask strength are the same thing?
Yes. Yes, but barrel proof is different than barrel strength.
Okay, see? And barrel proof means what?
Barrel proof means the barrel entry proof. So it's proof down to the exact same proof that it was when they put it in the barrel.
Interesting, man.
As opposed to it just being whatever it is at the time.
And what type of grain is used in here?
100% malted barley.
Oh, so they're doing the barley thing too?
It's there. Yeah,
they're literally, when you say the spirit of Scotch, they're like, hey, Scotch.
Yeah, it's there. It's not from Scotland, but outside of that, they're trying to make Scotch. Yeah.
Interesting, man. Let me tell you.
This one's a little more malty, a little less cask forward. The reason Kavalans are so chased after is because they have access to some of the greatest Oloroso and PX casks. So this was probably a nicer Oloroso barrel than this, even though they're both great whiskeys.
Sheesh, man. So Scotch is where you started your whiskey journey.
Yes. And
now you're into, what's your favorite American brand?
Ooh, favorite American brand's probably Heaven Hill. But I mean, that's like a favorite child, or like, I mean, that's hard, Yeah, I love me some Heaven Hill. Yeah.
Oh man, well let's take a little.
Yeah, this one's a little more grain forward.
Grain, but you said something about this having some rum notes to it, or them using.
So yeah, they're Greedy Angels. I think their best, most prestigious release is finished in a rum cask. So I think that they believe that their distillate goes really well with a rum finish.
I could taste the sweetness for dang sure.
Yeah.
God, that's interesting, man. Let me get the whiskey guy over here. I'm gonna pour him a little bit of this so you can try it. Boom.
Oh yeah, it's even sweeter.
Yeah, and guys, this one's significantly sweeter than this one.
Mm-hmm.
But I like it, man.
Yeah.
I like it. So would you recommend people get involved with Scotch or like walk down this road?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Especially if you're on a journey. Like if you're trying to broaden your horizons and actually see what's out there and learn about it. You're not just looking to have a fix after a hard day of work. You know what I mean? You want to learn about whiskey. You got to see what everybody's doing.
Yeah.
Because these are old traditions and everybody's doing it their own way, and you owe it to yourself to see what people are turning out. I mean, you travel the world, you eat different food from all these different places. You see that everybody's doing their own thing and it's all good. You know what I mean? If you're a foodie, what are you going to do? Not travel? Like same exact thing with whiskey. Only they make it easier because they bring it to you.
Man, and your favorite, if you had to tell somebody to start, what country would you say start with? I mean, clearly Scotland.
Scotland, yeah. For me, Scotland for sure. Yeah. And they've been doing it for a long, long, long time. I mean, I think they've been making Scotch for longer than America's been America.
Oh, so, for sure. Yeah. For sure. And your favorite Scottish whiskey is?
Ooh, gun to my head, Lefroy. I could give you a list of 10 and I'd be mad that I couldn't put an 11th on there. But yeah, Lefroy was my first love in Scotland.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man. I love not having to do a lot of talking. You're making it make sense, man. Well, I do feel this is special. What would be some notes that you're getting?
This one's a little sweeter and a little darker on the more bitter on the savory notes. So I get more of an espresso or like a coffee thing. I don't get the chocolate. I don't get the leather thing. I kind of get a raisin, but not as much as that was on the Cavallon.
Yeah.
And I do get like a nut, but it's more of an earthy nut, like a macadamia nut, and less like a almond or
cinnamon, like spiced apple or something like that in there personally on the nose.
I tell you, man, Richard gets into this stuff, man. He's one of the best people, in my opinion, so far, to really walk you through the journey of your first sip to your last and how it's morphing.
I do get a little citrus on the palate.
And citrus, too.
Yeah.
This is interesting, man. I think what's interesting for me because I just, you're young, you're just drinking liquor.
Yeah.
Whatever. We're trying to get hammered. Now we're getting old, so you go, how do we enjoy the little things in life? And where these stuff ain't cheap, this is like one of those little things because we're not trying to get drunk. You go, how do we get there? Well, you got to go there with the right people, man. Well, we thank you for taking us both to Taiwan and India in our first two little tastings. And I tell you, I've learned so much just in the past 15 minutes. As you heard, I was able to almost recite everything he said off of that one.
Awesome.
I got a good memory. And that's why I want to keep highlighting people like Richard, man, because this has been so informative, man. And this you can buy at Total Wine.
This one came from Specs. This is a single barrel. Both of these are single barrels, so you can't go out and buy this exact one. But Amrut is still being released at Specs and Goody Goody and Total Wine. And if you're in the right place at the right time, they do still release single barrel picks.
And so when you do a single barrel pick, normally you have to go to the distillery.
Yeah.
Where's that distillery at?
So I think for Amrut, like this was the Ex Oloroso Sherry, and it was done for like the Whiskey Neat Society. And I don't think they make you fly out to India. I think they probably ship you like a box of like samples and stuff like that.
But then you can pick it real if you're not
right. Yeah, I mean you're not tasting it right out of the barrel, so there's some trust involved.
If we go get the good stuff, like we might as well just go all the way there, huh?
Yeah.
Interesting, people. Well, as always, man, thank you, Richard, a ton for coming out and sharing another good episode of information. Keep it whiskey, man. Literally.